Welcome to Under Baobab Skies. The very first light of dawn begins to touch the coral-hued walls of ancient cities like Kilwa and Lemieux. It's a gentle, warm light, casting a golden glow over the wooden docks where majestic dhows sway back and forth, rocked by the morning tide. As the sun climbs higher, the air itself seems to wake up. A rich, intoxicating scent drifts from tightly bound bundles stacked along the wharf: cinnamon, cloves, and black pepper. It's a fragrance that speaks of far-off lands, of perilous journeys and incredible rewards. It's the smell of history, of trade, of a world connected by the sea. Merchants are already hard at work. They stretch their limbs, muscles aching from a long night of unloading and cataloguing their precious cargo. Their eyes are sharp, constantly scanning, searching for opportunity, but also wary of any potential threat. This is a world built on exchange, but it's a world where one must always be vigilant. The Swahili coast, for centuries, has been a vibrant artery of global commerce, linking Africa to the Middle East, India, and even distant China. It was a melting pot of cultures, a place where fortunes were made and lost with the changing of the tides. The cities themselves, built from coral stone and mangrove timber, are a testament to this rich history. Think of the great Mosque of Kilwa, with its elegant domes and arches, or the narrow, winding streets of Lemieux's Old Town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site where life continues much as it has for centuries. These weren't just simple trading posts. They were sophisticated urban centers, hubs of learning, art, and architecture, all financed by the wealth flowing through their ports. Among the bustling crowd is a young merchant named Jabari. His hands tell a story of their own. They are calloused and stained, a testament to years spent handling sacks of cloves and fragrant cinnamon. For Jabari, this life is a legacy. His family has been part of this coastal trade for generations, their story woven into the very fabric of the Indian Ocean world. They've known prosperity, building wealth from the spice trade. But they've also faced peril, with every voyage carrying its own set of risks. Today, like every day, Jabari must walk a tightrope. He navigates a world of delicate balances. There's the respect he must show to the local sultans and rulers, whose favor can make or break a merchant. There are the wary, unspoken alliances he forms with rival tradersmen who are his competitors one day and his partners the next. And then there is the ocean itself, the most unpredictable partner of all. He must account for its tides, its storms, its moods. A successful merchant on the Swahili coast was not just a businessman. He was a diplomat, a navigator, and a strategist, all rolled into one. As the sun climbs higher, the streets begin to stir with life. The quiet hum of the early morning gives way to a vibrant symphony of sounds. Women push heavy carts laden with fresh ginger and turmeric through the narrow, maze-like alleys. Their voices call out, advertising their wares. Children, free from the worries of trade, chase after chickens, their laughter echoing off the sun-warmed stone walls. The air is thick with language, a beautiful tapestry of sound. Kiswahili, the lingua franca of the coast, lilts and flows through the market, a language born from the fusion of Bantu and Arabic. This melodic speech is punctuated by the sharp, metallic clatter of trading knives and the rhythmic thud of scales being balanced. Every sound in this world has meaning. A raised voice could signal a successful bargain or a heated dispute. The distant clang of a ship's bell could announce a new arrival, bringing fresh goods and news from afar. Every shadow that flickers in the narrow streets could hide a friend or a foe. It is a world of constant information, and survival depends on being able to read the signs. Jabari pauses at the grand entrance to the market square. He takes a deep breath, the fragrant air filling his lungs. He feels the immense weight of responsibility pressing down on his shoulders. The livelihoods of his family, his crew, and the artisans who supply his goods all depend on the decisions he makes today. One single false step could be disastrous. A poorly timed bargain, where he offers too little or pays too much, could erode his profits. A stolen shipment could wipe out months of hard work in an instant. A simple misreading of a rival's intentions could lead to a feud that could last for years. And yet, despite all these risks, the allure of this life is irresistible. The promise of profit, the chance to build a legacy. The prestige that comes with being a successful merchant, it's a powerful magnet, a lure as old and as constant as the trade winds themselves. This drive is what built these cities, what powered these dhows across vast oceans, and what continues to drive Jabari forward into the bustling market. The market square itself is a dizzying kaleidoscope of color, sound, and smell. Piles of vibrant textiles from India sit next to intricate ivory carvings. Sacks overflowing with rice, millet, and sorghum form small mountains. The air is thick with the scent of grilling fish, sweet dates, and of course, the ever-present spices. Jabari moves through the crowd with a practiced ease, his eyes darting from stall to stall, assessing the quality of the goods, listening to the gossip, and gauging the mood of the market. He stops at a stall piled high with bundles of cinnamon and cloves. He picks up a cinnamon stick, its texture rough beneath his fingers. He brings it to his nose, inhaling deeply. He can tell its origin, its quality, just from the scent. The sunlight glints off the polished brass of the merchant's scales as they are brought out. Jabari's hands, so accustomed to this ritual, brush over fragrant powders, leaving a dusting of gold and brown on his skin. This is his world, the sensory language he understands better than any other. The morning unfolds like a well-rehearsed ritual, a dance of commerce that has been perfected over centuries. Orders are checked and rechecked. Written notes, carried by runners, are exchanged between merchants and ship captains. Deals are struck not with formal contracts, but with a handshake and a man's word, a bond that was often more binding than any legal document. As the morning progresses, the dhows, now loaded with their new cargo, begin to depart. One by one, their triangular lateen sails catch the monsoon wind, and they glide out of the harbor, embarking on their long journeys. These ships are the lifeblood of the coast, carrying cloves to the bustling markets of Zanzibar, cinnamon to the ancient port of Mogadishu, and precious black pepper all the way to Aden on the Arabian Peninsula. From there, these spices would continue their journey, traveling overland or by sea to Europe, where they were worth more than their weight in gold. But every single journey is fraught with hidden threats. The open ocean is a dangerous place. Pirate raids were a constant fear. These weren't just random acts of violence. They were often organized operations, with pirates lying in wait along well-known shipping lanes. A merchant could lose everything in a single, brutal encounter. Then there were the storms. The Indian Ocean is known for its sudden, violent squalls that can appear with little warning, tearing sails to shreds and scattering cargo across the waves. Beyond the dangers of the sea, there were the dangers of man. Political disputes in a distant port could erupt without notice. A new ruler might impose a sudden tax or embargo, rendering an entire shipment forfeit. A trade agreement could collapse, leaving a merchant stranded with goods he could no longer sell. In this world, true mastery was not just about buying low and selling high. It was measured by foresight, by the ability to anticipate these risks. It was measured by patience, by knowing when to sail and when to wait. And above all, It was measured by the rare ability to read both the signs of nature and the complexities of human intent. Jabari, like his father and grandfather before him, had to be a master of it all. As he watches the last dhow disappear over the horizon, he turns back to the market. The day is still young, and there are more deals to be made, more risks to be weighed, and more fortunes to be won under the warm African sun. As the sun climbs higher, Jabari's attention shifts from the familiar, comforting rhythm of the dockside to the complex labyrinth of alliances and rivalries that truly define the spice trade. This isn't just about moving goods from one port to another. It's a high-stakes game of strategy and psychology. Here, in the heart of the market, merchants convene beneath sprawling canopies of woven palm fronds. The air is thick, not just with the scent of cinnamon and clove, but with whispers. Whispers about delayed shipments, hushed conversations about forged documents, and clandestine talk of secret, faster routes that could make or break a fortune overnight. In this world, words are weighed with as much care as the spices themselves. A single rumor, a carelessly spoken phrase, can destroy a reputation built over generations. A whisper can unravel a deal, sink a shipment, and erase a family's legacy. Jabari moves through this space with a practiced ease, his senses on high alert. He knows that the bustling energy, the vibrant colors of turmeric and saffron, piled high in pyramids, conceals a current of fierce competition. Every smile is a potential mask, every friendly gesture a possible gambit. The market is a living, breathing entity, and to survive, you must learn its language, its secrets, and its dangers. Jabari pauses near a stall, where a merchant is meticulously inspecting a handful of peppercorns, his face a mask of concentration. The scene is repeated 100 times over in the alleys around him. This is the public face of the trade. Quality control, haggling, the clink of coins. But the real business happens in the spaces between, in the fleeting glances and the coded conversations. It's a world Jabari was born into, a world his father navigated before him. The pressure is immense, but so is the thrill. The spice trade is not for the faint of heart. It's a dance of diplomacy and deception, and Jabari knows he must lead or be led to ruin. Suddenly, a figure detaches from the crowd and approaches him. It's Kale, a rival trader known for his ambition and his unnervingly charming smile. "Jabari, my friend," Kale says, his voice smooth as silk. "Good to see your family's enterprise continues to flourish." They exchange polite greetings, the standard pleasantries of the market, but beneath the surface, the air crackles with tension. Every glance is loaded with a subtle challenge, a silent assessment. Jabari knows that behind this practiced smile could lie a plan for sabotage, a scheme to intercept his cargo, or an attempt to poach one of his key suppliers. One misstep, one moment of misplaced trust, and the delicately balanced ledger of his family's fortune could collapse. The weight of this responsibility settles on Jabari's shoulders, a familiar companion. Yet, the rhythms of the market demand engagement. Trade cannot pause for fear alone. To retreat is to concede defeat. So, Jabari matches Kale's smile with one of his own, his eyes calm but watchful. He offers a non-committal response, a carefully worded phrase that gives nothing away. It's a verbal sparring match, a chess game where the pieces are words and intentions. He has to play, but he has to play to win, protecting his family's legacy with every carefully chosen syllable. This is the reality of his world. Trust is a currency more valuable than gold, and it is spent with extreme caution. By mid-afternoon, the sun is at its peak, beating down on the canvas awnings and casting sharp shadows across the crowded lanes. The heat is relentless, mirroring the pressure Jabari feels building inside him. A young runner, his face flushed with urgency, pushes through the throng to deliver a message. The news is bad. A dhow bound for Oman, carrying a significant portion of his latest shipment, has been unexpectedly delayed at a minor port down the coast. This isn't just any shipment. It holds his rare Sumatran nutmeg and the finest cardamom from the Malabar coast, contracts he fought hard to secure. Panic flares in his chest, a hot, sharp sting. For a fleeting moment, he imagines the worst. The cargo spoiling in the heat, the contracts defaulted, the catastrophic financial loss. But years of experience, of watching his father handle crises with unshakable calm, have taught him to master that fear. He takes a slow, deliberate breath, pushing the panic down. Fear is a luxury he cannot afford. What is needed now is precision. Immediately, his mind shifts into action. He dispatches 2 of his most trusted aides, sending one to the port authority to negotiate and another to personally inspect the cargo, ensuring its integrity. He needs eyes on the ground, unbiased information. Rumors fly in these situations, and he can't operate on speculation. Simultaneously, he begins recalibrating his accounts, running through contingency plans. Can other shipments be rerouted? Can he negotiate extensions with his buyers? Every action is a calculated blend of sharp intuition, learned skill, and raw courage. He moves with a purpose that belies the turmoil he feels, his expression a mask of cool control. In the spice trade, showing panic is like showing a shark you're bleeding. Jabari is a predator, not prey. He will turn this crisis into an opportunity, or, at the very least, he will contain the damage and live to trade another day. As the day deepens, the harsh afternoon sun bleaches the vibrant colors of the market, blurring the edges of the world into a hazy mirage. The heat warps the air, and with it, the atmosphere of the market seems to shift. What was a collection of familiar, even friendly faces in the morning now feels like a chessboard, where every individual is a piece in a game with monumental consequences. Jabari feels the change viscerally. The easy camaraderie of the early hours has evaporated, replaced by a tense, watchful silence that hangs between the haggling calls. He walks slowly through the rows of jute sacks stacked high, his senses on overdrive. This is no longer a simple stroll, it's a patrol. His eyes scan everything, noting the subtle shifts that an untrained eye would miss. A missing bundle of cinnamon from a stack that was full an hour ago. An altered chalk mark on a crate of cloves. A mark that designates ownership and destination. Strangers, faces he doesn't recognize, lingering just a little too long in the vicinity of his family's warehouse. Each observation is a thread. A single thread is weak, easily broken. But together they form a web, and Jabari must see the pattern. He is weaving a net of survival, and every detail, no matter how small, is crucial. Is the missing bundle a simple miscount or theft? Is the altered mark a mistake or an attempt to divert his cargo? Who are these strangers, and what is their interest in his operations? He commits each detail to memory, piecing together the puzzle of the day's activities. The market is not just a place of commerce. It's a battleground of wits. And survival depends on seeing the threats before they materialize, on understanding the silent language of the shadows. By late afternoon, just as the sun begins its descent towards the horizon, casting long, dramatic shadows across the port, the puzzle pieces click into place. One of his aides returns, breathless, from the port official's office. The news confirms Jabari's suspicions. A minor disaster has been narrowly averted. It turns out Kale, his smiling rival from the morning, had attempted to bribe a port official. The plan was simple and insidious. Use a fabricated customs violation to confiscate a significant part of Jabari's cargo, specifically the nutmeg destined for Oman. The delay of the dhow was no accident. It was the opening move in Kale's gambit, designed to create confusion and opportunity. Armed with this information, Jabari acted swiftly. There was no loud confrontation, no public accusation. That wasn't his style. Instead, he used his own network, his own influence, built on years of fair dealings and mutual respect. With a combination of quiet tact and quick, decisive thinking, he made a counteroffer to the official, not a bribe, but an appeal to long-term partnership and the consequences of being associated with a cheat like Kale. The threat was neutralized. The official, realizing which side his bread was buttered on, suddenly found the paperwork to be in perfect order. The shipment was cleared for departure on the evening tide. Jabari feels a surge of quiet satisfaction, but not triumph. There is no celebration, only lessons etched deeper into his memory. This is the unceasing rhythm of the trade. Constant vigilance, measured risk, and the hard-won knowledge that each day survived is a victory in itself. He watches as the last of his crates are loaded onto the dhow, the setting sun glinting off the water. He had faced a direct threat and overcome it, not with force, but with intelligence. Tomorrow, Kale would still be in the market, still smiling, and a new challenge would undoubtedly arise. But for today, Jabari had protected his family's name and fortune. And that was enough. As evening descends upon the Swahili coast, the bustling marketplace begins to quiet down. The chaotic energy of the day, a whirlwind of haggling and hurried exchanges, gives way to a serene, golden calm. Dhows, those elegant wooden ships that have sailed these waters for centuries, sway lazily in the harbor. Their distinctive lateen sails are furled, their masts like silent sentinels against a sky painted in shades of orange, pink, and deep violet. The last rays of the setting sun catch the mountains of spice sacks stacked high on the docks, making them glow with an almost magical, amber light. It's a scene of profound peace, but for a spice merchant like Jabari, peace is a fleeting concept. Jabari sits on a pile of coiled rope, the worn leather pouch of his day's earnings heavy in his hand. He meticulously counts the coins, his fingers tracing the imprints of sultans and foreign kings. Each coin represents a successful negotiation, a risk taken and won. But his mind isn't just on the gains. He also tallies the losses, the near misses, the deals that fell through, the subtle threats veiled in a competitor's smile. This is the life of a spice merchant, a constant, delicate balancing act between fortune and peril. The warm, humid air carries the scent of the sea, but Jabari feels a familiar chill crawl up his spine. It's the chill of responsibility. The Indian Ocean, his highway to wealth, is a fickle partner. It offers passage and riches, but it will not forgive a moment of carelessness. A sudden squall, a hidden reef, or a misjudged current could swallow a man's entire fortune and his life, without a second thought. And it's not just the ocean he must contend with. On land, his rivals are just as dangerous. They watch his every move, noting his successes and, more importantly, his weaknesses. In this world, a moment of vulnerability is an invitation for disaster. Leaving the docks, Jabari walks through the emptying alleys of the stone town. The narrow streets, designed to create shade and catch the sea breeze, are now filled with long, stretching shadows. He inhales deeply. The air is a rich tapestry of aromas, a signature scent of the Swahili coast. He can distinguish the sharp, sweet smell of cinnamon from Sri Lanka, the pungent kick of black pepper from the Malabar coast, and the warm, earthy fragrance of ginger from lands even farther east. These are the sense of his livelihood, the very essence of his world. The walls of the buildings around him, constructed from coral stone and lime mortar, seem to hum softly in the fading light. They are cool to the touch, having absorbed the day's intense heat. These walls have stood for centuries, silent witnesses to the footsteps of countless merchants, sailors, and slaves who have walked these same paths. They echo with the history of a trade that is more than just commerce. Here, trade is woven into the fabric of the community. It's intertwined with culture, with faith, with family, and with courage. Every transaction is a story, every spice sack a chapter in a grand, ongoing saga of survival, negotiation, and the accumulation of hard-won wisdom. This ancient city is a living classroom, and its lessons are etched into the very stones beneath his feet. As night finally falls, the city transforms. Lanterns flare to life one by one, their warm, flickering flames casting dancing pools of light onto the worn cobblestones. They illuminate ornate wooden doors with brass studs, intricate balconies, and the faces of people gathering for their evening meal. Jabari finds a spot near a small fire on the docks, where other merchants and sailors have gathered. The sound of quiet conversation in Swahili, Arabic, and a dozen other languages fills the air, mingling with the distant, rhythmic lap of waves against the dock. He listens to the gentle whisper of the spices shifting in their sacks, as if they are murmuring secrets of their long journey. Each day on this coast ends just as it began, with a careful, calculated negotiation with the world. It is a story of immense risk, incredible endurance, and the boundless ingenuity of the human spirit. In the stillness of the night, surrounded by the ghosts of the past and the realities of the present, Jabari feels a profound understanding of his calling. To be a spice merchant, he realizes, is not simply about buying and selling goods. It is to dance with uncertainty every single day. It is to live in a state of constant vigilance, where every word, every gesture, must be measured and deliberate. A friendly smile could hide a dagger, and a seemingly casual question could be a probe for weakness. It's about knowing when to be bold and when to be cautious, when to trust and when to suspect. This life is also about honoring tradition. The routes he sails were charted by his ancestors. The contracts he makes are often sealed with a handshake. A system built on reputation and honor that has been passed down through generations. But he cannot rely on tradition alone. The world is constantly changing. New empires rise, old trade routes shift, and the currents of global politics can change as quickly as the ocean winds. Navigating these ever-changing currents requires adaptability, foresight, and a willingness to embrace the new while respecting the old. The market sleeps now. A slumbering giant, resting before the dawn, brings another day of frantic activity. But the lessons of the day linger in the cool night air. They are present in every bag of cloves that holds the promise of profit and the risk of ruin. They are whispered in the details of every deal struck in the shadows of the alleys. And they beat steadily in the heart of every merchant, like Jabaria. Heart that has learned to find its rhythm amidst the constant interplay of danger and opportunity. This was the life, the risk, and the reward of the Swahili spice trade. It was a world built on courage, shaped by the monsoon winds, and scented with the most valuable commodities on earth. A world where a single voyage could make you a king, or leave you with nothing. This is just a small glimpse into their incredible story. Thank you for watching this preview. To discover the full fascinating history and understand the immense risks these merchants faced every single day, we invite you to watch our complete documentary, Why Being a Swahili Spice Merchant Was Risky Business, available now on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to explore more stories from our shared past.